Hikers, bikers, and rollerbladers have a new segment of trail in West Volusia. Hi there and welcome to Volusia Magazine. I'm Amber Patterson. Members of the Volusia County Council recently celebrated the newest segment of the Spring to Spring Trail in West Volusia, officially opening it up for those hikers, bikers, and rollerbladers. This long-awaited segment is cause for celebration. And thanks to the Pet Vet Cruiser, people in unincorporated areas of Volusia County, DeLand, and South Daytona can improve the quality of life for their own pet when they get low-cost spay and neuter services. Later on in the show, we'll find out about passenger traffic increases at the Daytona Beach International Airport. What's new in mosquito control with Community Information Director Dave Byron and his guest, Mosquito Control Director Jim McNelly. Those segments, news, and more coming right up on Volusia Magazine. Stay tuned. Another segment of the Spring to Spring Trail in West Volusia is complete, bringing outdoor delight to hikers, bikers, and rollerbladers. Members of the Volusia County Council recently celebrated the newest segment during a ceremony in DeBary. The new trail segment stretches 0.9 miles along DeBary Avenue from Mansion Boulevard to Deltona Boulevard. Tim Bailey, Director of Volusia County's Parks, Recreation, and Culture Division, said the Spring to Spring Trail has reached the halfway point with 13 miles of completed trail segments.
This section of trail is called the Missing Link because the trail technically stopped on Mansion Boulevard, from Lake Monroe to Mansion Boulevard, and then underneath I-4 there was no trail connectivity, and then it picked up again on the east side of I-4, and then it traveled to Green Springs Park and then on to 415. So that section from Mansion Boulevard to Deltona Boulevard was called the Missing Link. Now we've got connectivity, and now you can travel from Lake Monroe Park all the way to 415 in Osteen.
The Spring to Spring Trail connects the East Central Regional Rail Trail at Green Spring Park in Deltona. Both trail systems are works in progress, with new segments reaching completion almost every year. The paved trails are being designed to accommodate walkers, joggers, inline skaters, bicyclists, and people with disabilities. The East Central Regional Rail Trail is being constructed along the longest abandoned rail line ever purchased in Florida. The state purchased the corridor from the Florida East Coast Railway in 2007 and then turned it over to Volusia and Brevard counties for development and maintenance. When complete, the rail trail will cover 52 miles stretching from Deltona to Edgewater, with a 10-mile leg through Brevard County to Titusville. In all, there are 23 miles of showcase trails in Volusia County and another 43 miles in the planning stages. The entire Volusia County section of the trail is expected to be complete in 2020. To learn more about Volusia County's Trails program, you can visit volusia.org/trails. Each year, close to 10,000 cats and dogs are euthanized in Volusia County. You can help us reduce those numbers by having your pet spayed or neutered. Thanks to the Pet Vet Cruiser, people in unincorporated areas of Volusia County, DeLand, and South Daytona can get low-cost spay and neuter services. Since the mobile veterinary clinic started making rounds in 2007, more than 13,000 dogs and cats have been sterilized. The Volusia County Council launched this service to reduce the number of euthanizations and to help people who cannot afford to have their pets sterilized. Fees range from $15 to $65 depending on income.
Having your pet spayed or neutered benefits you and your pet. Your pet can enjoy a longer life and better health, and you get peace of mind knowing your animal companion is safer and happier. Sterilization reduces the risk of many types of cancer in cats and dogs. It also reduces the aggressive behavior and alleviates dog and cat overpopulation.
In one way or another, all of us are affected by animal overpopulation. Tax dollars are spent every year to care for lost, abandoned, and unwanted pets, and more money is spent to euthanize those that are not fortunate enough to find a home. The health and safety of our communities is another concern. The greater population of unwanted animals, the greater the incidence of rabies, dog bites, traffic accidents, and animal abuse. The Pet Vet Cruiser makes regular stops in DeLand, Orange City, New Smyrna Beach, and Ormond Beach. To schedule an appointment with the Pet Vet Cruiser, you can call 386-323-3575. For more information and to see an upcoming schedule of stops, you can visit volusia.org/animal control. Passenger traffic at Daytona Beach International Airport increased 10% in May compared with May of 2013. During the month, 60,943 passengers flew in or out of the county-operated airport when compared with 55,318 passengers last May. For the 12 months ending May 31st, passenger traffic at Daytona Beach International Airport increased 6%, from 588,194 passengers this year to 620,572 this year. Steve Cook, Business Development Director for the airport, said Delta Airlines and U.S. Airways offered approximately 7% more seats this May compared with last May.
We also had a 93% load factor during the month of May, which in April we had 94%, but that's a very, very high load factor for any commercial airport or airlines. Last month we had a 757. We really weren't supposed to get that aircraft, but we did get it, so it gave us more seats. We actually had 7% more seats during the month of May this year than we had during the month of May last year.
For more information about scheduling and flights, you can visit flydaytonafirst.com.
Hello, I'm Dr. Willie Kimmons, a member of the Children and Families Advisory Board. This volunteer group works with the Volusia County Council and makes recommendations that promote healthy children and strong families. It is an honor and a pleasure to serve on this board. The county has openings on several advisory boards, which allow you to play an important role in the policy-making process. If you'd like to share your time and talents with your county government, we'd like to hear from you. Please visit volusia.org/advisory and complete an application of the board of your choice. Today, we must make a concerted effort to save our children, because our children are our future. Thank you.
Dementia is not a specific disease. It's an overall term that describes a wide range of symptoms associated with a decline in memory or other thinking skills severe enough to reduce a person's ability to perform everyday activities. Alzheimer's disease accounts for 60 to 80% of cases, and vascular dementia, which occurs after a stroke, is the second most common dementia type. But there are many other conditions that can cause symptoms of dementia, including some that are reversible, such as thyroid problems and vitamin deficiencies. Health reporter Stephanie Strong spotlights a very helpful dementia program offered by the Council on Aging in this segment of Community Health Matters.
Imagine not being able to remember your address. What about your social security number? Or having difficulty dressing and doing routine activities such as paying bills or washing dishes? These symptoms may come with the aging process, and they can be signs of dementia. Just ask Louise McGahan. The loving wife finds herself in the role of caregiver to a spouse who is dealing with dementia.
You're always trying to make sure that they're not going to injure themselves or have something happen to them. Wandering, if they start wandering, you have to make sure that you have your locks, and it's just so many things that you have to keep an eye on.
Dementia is an umbrella term describing the loss of cognitive functioning, thinking, remembering, and reasoning, and behavioral activities to such an extent that it interferes with a person's daily life and activities.
He had to give up driving. That was quite a problem. Fortunately, he never had an accident. He was smart enough to give up the keys without too much trouble. A lot of people, that's a very, very hard thing to give up because you've been so independent for so many years. You need a lot of support from your family and your friends. And it's just a complete life-changing experience.
The Council on Aging of Volusia County has been offering support services and information to help seniors and their caregivers for over 45 years.
The first part of our dementia track is a neighborhood social activity program that is set up, that's a 9 to 3 program, set up in local churches in Volusia County, where a loved one, a caregiver, can bring their loved one, and that loved one is with us for the day, in a very social, active group, very structured. We play games, we have exercises, we do singing, we do lunch, we do conversational times.
I've never swung in my life.
Well, we're swinging now.
This social group starts the same time by doing the same thing each meeting, playing a popular card game that challenges the mind called Kings in the Corner. Attendees enjoy it.
It is a challenging way to start the day, to get the cognitive juices working, and they enjoy it. It's fun.
What would you put on a red 2?
It is very important for caregivers to take time to care for themselves.
We have support groups where a caregiver can come and sit with other people who are experiencing the same type of things, and just to discuss what they're going through. And that's a very important part, is to find some sort of support. You got to be able to rest. You've got to be able to do physical, you need to physically take care of yourself, and keep your mind going too. It's the caregiving part of it is so stressful that over 50% of caregivers die before the loved one that they're taking care of.
Dementia is increasingly common, especially with our aging population, our baby boomers, and all of us need to be concerned about it because it is there, but also we need to position ourselves to be able to take care of folks who have dementia.
Memory loss that disrupts daily life may be a symptom of Alzheimer's or another dementia. Alzheimer's is a brain disease that causes a slow decline in memory, thinking, and reasoning skills. There are 10 warning signs and symptoms for dementia. Every individual may experience one or more of these signs in different degrees. If you notice any of them, please see a doctor. Memory loss that disrupts daily life, challenges in planning or solving problems, difficulty completing familiar tasks at home, at work, or at leisure, confusion with time or place, trouble understanding visual images and spatial relationships, new problems with words in speaking or writing, misplacing things and losing the ability to retrace steps, decreased or poor judgment, withdrawal from work or social activities, and changes in mood and personality. Louise and Richard are taking each day, one day at a time, coping with the struggles of living with dementia with positive attitudes and loving hearts. For more information about the Council on Aging's programs and services, please visit www.coavolusia.org, or you may call 386-253-4700. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Stephanie Strong, Public Information Officer for the Florida Department of Health in Volusia County.
As always, if you have any questions about this or any other health-related issues, you can log on to volusiahealth.com. Keeping your lawn healthy and green requires lots of care, including the right fertilizer. Today, horticulturalist Joe Seward explains what to look for when purchasing the right fertilizer for your lawn.
Hi, this is Joe Seward, and this is Horticulture Today. We've talked about the 9 principles of Florida-friendly landscaping. Just as a reminder, they are right plant, right place, watering efficiently, fertilizing appropriately, managing landscape pests, attracting wildlife, reducing stormwater runoff, protecting the waterfront, mulching, and recycling. Today, we're going to talk about fertilizing appropriately. When you fertilize plants, remember you are applying nutrients. You are not feeding the plants. Plants feed themselves by the process of photosynthesis. So when you are fertilizing plants, it's like giving them vitamins. And the fertilizers help them carry on their metabolic processes more efficiently. So when you're buying fertilizer, it's not important what the brand name is or even what it's called. What you're buying are nutrients. Pay attention to the analysis of the fertilizer. You can make your purchases based on what your plants need. Be sure to read the label. The label is the most important part of the fertilizer bag. Not what it's called, not any particular brand name. Any fertilizer can do good for plants or it can be bad for plants. It's how they are applied that is the important part. A good place to start is take a soil test. For normal landscapes, I recommend soil tests yearly. If you're growing vegetables, I recommend you get a soil test a couple of times a year. A soil test done at the University of Florida can tell you what nutrients your plants really need. To submit a soil sample to the University of Florida, you can either go online or you can come to the extension office or any extension office in the state of Florida, and we can provide you with the form and the box to mail the sample to the University of Florida Soil Test Laboratory. In a couple of weeks, you'll get your results back, and we can help you interpret those results. The soil test will give you information on which you can make decisions about your landscape and your fertilizer choices. So whenever you're buying fertilizers, make sure you pay attention to the label. In this particular product, the guaranteed analysis is total nitrogen, and then that's broken down into ammoniacal nitrogen and water-soluble nitrogen. Then it goes on to talk about how much phosphorus is in the product, how much potassium, and in this case, minor elements. And those may or may not be necessary for your particular garden, your particular landscape. Again, the only way you know is to take a soil test. But when you're buying fertilizers, don't pay attention to what it's called, pay attention to the label. For Horticulture Today, I'm Joe Sewards. Feel free to call us at the University of Florida Volusia County Extension Office, or you can visit our website as well. The phone number is area code 386-822-5778, or you can go to volusia.org/extension.
Now let's head into the studio to join our very own Community Information Director, Dave Byron, as he sits down to chat with his guest, Jim McNelly, Mosquito Control Director for Volusia County.
Well, thank you, Amber, and hi, everyone. You know, while the afternoon thunderstorms are good for green grass and the replenishment of our water table, this begins the time of year when mosquito annoyance starts to become a public concern. So with that in mind, we have with us in the studio today, Volusia County's Mosquito Control Director, Jim McNelly. We'll get the latest on the mosquito conditions in Volusia County, and we'll tell you what you can do to help reduce the number of mosquitoes around your home. Jim, thanks for being with us. How are you doing today?
Doing great, Dave. A little wet from those showers, but great.
Jim, obviously the concern, the major concern with mosquitoes, besides just the annoyance level, is any possible health threat. We know that mosquitoes can carry illnesses that can harm humans, encephalitis and some of the other things. As we look across the landscape in Volusia County and further into the state of Florida, I know you got your eyes peeled.
We do have our eyes peeled. You know, because we've spoken in the past that we have sentinel chickens out there, and they monitor a number of different diseases and viruses that mosquitoes can transmit. We're seeing a little bit of an uptick in our chickens these days with eastern equine encephalitis.
Which is a disease for horses, correct?
It is. Horses can contract it. They're a dead-end host. Actually, horse owners should be inoculating their horses because there is a shot that they can give them that would help save them from any type of a disease like that. We're seeing a little bit of an uptick in our chickens. We've had a couple of horse cases, so we have our eyes peeled on that. And then we do have our eyes peeled on a disease that's in the Americas and the Caribbean at this point, chikungunya. So we're definitely preparing, just in case, we start to see cases of chikungunya here in Volusia County.
As I read the newspaper and watch television, Jim, it seems like this chikungunya is present. There's been a limited number of cases in the counties surrounding Volusia County, but none here so far. And from what I'm hearing, the folks that were affected with this mosquito got bitten mostly in the Caribbean, I guess.
That's correct, Dave. In the Caribbean, in South America, Central America, we're likely to see an imported case. That's
right.
what we would refer to the case as. Somebody who's bitten elsewhere
right.
comes to the state of Florida, perhaps Volusia County. At this point, we don't have any confirmed cases of chikungunya, but we are preparing for it.
So let's be clear, in terms of any threat to the Volusia County population at this point, you're watching carefully, but no reason to be alarmed at this point?
No reason to be alarmed. We're working with the health department.
Right.
They give us updates twice a week, so we're on top of it and we're prepared.
So those sentinel chickens that you mentioned, again, for folks that don't know your industry, what is a sentinel chicken and why is that important to you?
That's a chicken that sits in a flock of 4 chickens that go out in an area where in the past we've seen disease transmission from the mosquitoes that bite birds.
Mm-hmm.
And birds are important as part of the cycle of disease transmission for the viruses that we're looking at. And we'll sample these chickens. We'll take a small blood sample once a week.
Mm-hmm.
We send it off to the Department of Health. They give us results by the end of the week. And these chickens basically create an antibody to ward off any type of a disease that they contract from a mosquito. So they aren't harmed. Our bleedings don't harm them. They act as a smoke alarm and they tell us what's going on out there.
So let's talk about complaints or concerns that may come in from a neighborhood. Oftentimes, 8 to 10, 12 days after a rain event, you do get a higher level of activity. People do call your office. Then what happens?
Well, what happens is we'll create a service request, turn that into a work order. An inspector will be handed that work order, and we shoot for 24 hours, but within 48 hours, that inspector will be in the neighborhood, hopefully right at the door of the individual who sent in that service request, and they'll look around the property. They'll inspect the property, hopefully engage the property owner and get them out to look
Mm-hmm.
around the property with them, educate them about what they can do about containers on their residence, and educate them in general to mosquito control, mosquito surveillance, and repellents, things like that.
At that point, do you spray around the property or spray around the neighborhoods?
If the population justifies it. So,
Right.
We'll often go to a service request and it might be fleas or it might be biting flies,
I see.
something that's not part of our program. If it's a mosquito, if it's a mosquito population that meets a certain threshold, then yes, we would spray.
When you mentioned, you try to provide a little education to the homeowner, it's really not rocket science. Tell us what a homeowner can do. Some very simple things that really can make a big difference for them and their neighbors.
It's not rocket science, but it has to be consistent, and the homeowner has to be vigilant. So they have to go between May and late September, early October, go around their property and look for containers that are holding water.
Right.
It might be a saucer under a plant, it could be a wheelbarrow, it could be a tarp over a boat, it might even be their gutter that's
Right.
clogged with leaves. But any type of standing water between May and September has the potential to produce mosquitoes.
And a bunch of them too, huh?
And a bunch of them too. So look at least once a week, tip things over. If they can throw them away, if it's a container that's not necessary anymore, throw it away. Or if it's something like a bromeliad, flush it out once a week.
Right. Jim, people always wonder about the use of chemicals. And, every time I talk to you, I give you an opportunity to just be sure that the folks understand. You people have the proper licensing and the proper training to handle these chemicals, and the chemicals you use, I guess, are tested, registered, safe, etc.
Absolutely. Everybody at the district who handles an insecticide is licensed by the state of Florida. They go to training every year to upkeep their licensing. All of the insecticides that we use have been registered for use by the U.S. EPA and the state of Florida. All of the equipment that we use is calibrated. All of the mosquito equipment, application equipment that we use is characterized. So we know exactly what's going out of a backpack or a large machine.
So if a person is, let's say they're an outdoor worker or an outdoor enthusiast, they like to run, walk, ride, whatever, you know, there are some common sense things that maybe they should do as well, just to take a little extra precaution, correct?
Yeah, if it's possible, long sleeves, long pants, that isn't always possible.
Hot.
It is hot, yeah, here in Florida. Repellents, certainly DEET, D like dog, EET is the gold standard when it comes to repellents. If anybody wants information on repellents, they can access the CDC website, cdc.gov, through our website or go direct. There's terrific information on there about other repellents.
You know, Jim, a lot of people these days are a little bit concerned about buying things over the county. They like to go to the, you know, maybe the more generic or the, you know, I guess, you know, mother's recipe, if you will. And I know I've talked to, you know, folks like you, they've talked about, I think it's lemon eucalyptus or Bacardian oil or something to that. Well, are there other solutions other than DEET that people can use?
There are a couple of other solutions that are recommended for use by the CDC people, and I would direct anybody there to take a look at that list and choose from that list. Don't go off of that list with any of the other things that might be proposed by other folks.
I know this is a mosquito awareness week, and so you kind of ratchet up your activity in terms of public education and so forth. What are you doing this year during Mosquito Awareness Week?
Well, we're going to put a full press on, and you're helping us with that, Dave. Thank you. We have created a number of different educational materials that we'll be disseminating as we do those service requests. We do have an open house Wednesday the 25th, and we invite anybody from the public to come out to our office. It's in New Smyrna Beach on South Street, 801 South Street. Between 10 and 2, we'll have an open house, and they can meet us. We'll show them a little bit about what we do, and there'll be cold water and hot dogs.
Jim, I want to thank you for sharing the information with us. So far, so good. The level of complaints at a reasonable level?
It really is. It's below average. It's been a slow year. It's been a long year so far. It started in February, and we've got a long way to go.
Well, let's keep it that way, huh?
Tip those containers, please.
Our guest today, Jim McNelly, Volusia County's Mosquito Control Director. Again, Jim, thanks for being with us.
Welcome, Dave. Thank you.
Well, with that, Amber, we'll go back to you.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you for watching Volusia Magazine. If you have any questions about the show, you can feel free to give us a call at any of the numbers you see listed here, or you can log on to volusia.org and click on the News tab at the top of the screen to find us. Incidentally, you can find the County Council's meeting calendar there too. In fact, you can use volusia.org to find out about meeting dates, workshops, topics of interest, activities, and how you can become involved. And we hope you won't forget to listen to Volusia Today. That's Volusia County Government's weekly public radio broadcast. Now, Volusia Today airs every Tuesday and Sunday mornings on the local radio stations you see on your screen. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Amber Patterson. Have a wonderful evening.